everybody, good evening and welcome to your very own BYJU'S 9th and 10th grade channel. I'm your teacher Aishwarya, and in this particular video we are going to be covering the chapter Physical Features of India, right? And of course in this particular class we will specifically be discussing the Himalayan mountains and the northern plains, right? So of course, as we all know, this chapter is the most in demand from geography from all of you. I know that probably some of you wanted this class to happen a little bit more earlier than when we have scheduled it for the live stream. But no matter what, this chapter, whenever you revise it, right, this chapter is very, very important, right? And looks very scary, but it's a very easy peasy chapter. Yes. The map work is a little tricky, which we will practice and do a lot of it, so not to worry about it. So students who are here in my live stream, I hope all of you can hear me, see me clearly, and I hope all of you are excited for today's class and you are able to see what I'm writing on the screen. Yes? Good evening to Sai, Mukesh, Priya, Prabha. Now I know that whenever you are watching this live stream, for this live students especially, I know that probably this chapter would be covered. So it's okay, we'll still do a good revision of this chapter, right? Very beautiful chapter as well, we will revise it. But nonetheless, whenever you are watching, probably you are watching this video because you've not understood the concepts. So I will teach you these concepts in great detail, right? There is no mentee today, we will be understanding the theory. And I will aim to not make this chapter very heavy in terms of our explanation. So in case, if I'm only able to cover the Himalayan mountains today, but you've understood Himalayan mountains end to end in great detail, then we can also do a separate class on northern plains as well. But my aim is to complete both of this today as well, right? Awesome, everyone. So what do I request you all to do in today's class? Please have your textbooks open with you along with your notebooks as well, right? And of course, secondly, please make sure you have your water bottle as well ready in hand, right? And your pencil, pen, highlighter, whatever you need to do, have that ready. Then most importantly, right, I know you will have a lot of doubts, but there's going to be a point when I might be teaching in class and then you will be asking a doubt and I don't see your doubt, but that doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. I request your attention in class, right? Please pay attention in class so that you are able to hear what I'm saying so that you understand it well, right? Okay, so if you've not still hit the subscribe button, don't forget to do that, and without wasting any more time, we will get started. Now, in order to understand this chapter, there are some basics you need to keep in mind, okay? So, first and foremost, we will start with a very simple understanding. See, I always tell you with geography, instead of deep diving into the concepts, let's look at some simple concepts which are there. For example, the chapter says physical features of India. So, first and foremost, what are physical features? Why are you as students of class 9 studying physical features? Why should you study about it? And what are the major physiographic divisions of India, right? So these are a few things that we will understand in great detail. Now, of course, I know there are many students here who are not paying attention. If you are not paying attention, you can leave. Please don't disturb the others who are studying in the live class. So let's start with understanding what are the physical features. Now, when we talk about physical features, right, and especially when we're talking about physical features of India, when you talk about India, what do we always read? India is a melting pot, right? India is a melting pot of culture. Different parts of the country is different from each other, right? Right now, whoever is watching this video, I am sure you are watching it from some part of the country. And I am from Karnataka, but I was born in Kerala. I speak Tamil, right? And I know that many of you here could be from different parts of the country. And some of you would be from Uttar Pradesh, some of you from Madhya Pradesh, some of you are from Rajasthan, right? Many of you are from Delhi. And in all these different parts, we see that there are different culture, different food that we eat, different languages that we speak, right? And different traditions that we follow. And in all these cases, right, we see that we are a melting pot. That's what makes us so amazing, right? Now, of course, in this particular case, just like how we as individuals, we are all different from one another. We see that our country in itself, physically, if you look at our country and all the features we see in our country, they are all different, right? We know that there are some parts, the northernmost parts, which have these beautiful mountain ranges, yes? And we know that there are valleys that are there which have these beautiful flowers. And of course, we know that they have dense forests and thick greenery that is there. But if I move a little more, a little maybe to the west, I will also see that there are deserts in the very same country that has the beautiful greenery and the lush mountains. We have deserts, and of course we see that we have vast plains that are there where we practice agriculture. So if you look at it, we see that there are all different features that we see, right? Divided by states, united by the country. Exactly. So in all these cases, we see that these are all the physical forms that we observe, or physical features. So what are physical features per se? Now let me tell you something very simply, right? Physical features, if I talk about it in a colloquial manner, in normal language like you and me, right? If I say, what are the physical features of Saurabh sir? What will you tell me? Quickly you can let me know, right? What are the physical features? Of course, when we talk about a human being, we will not use the word feature, we will use characteristic. But you will tell me, you know ma'am, Saurabh sir has beard, right? Saurabh sir wears glasses. These are all, he is very tall. Saurabh sir is funny, okay, yeah, he is very funny. Awesome, right? So you will tell what you can see. Those are the observable features that are there, right? But when you talk about geographically, when we say physical features, they are basically the observable features. And in this particular case, we see that these physical features are the natural features, right? So these are natural observable features which we find on the Earth's surface. Now what are the things that we find? We will find plain, we will find plateau, we will find mountain. Are we all clear? Right? Are we all clear with what are these physical features? Yes? So that is what we mean by this. Now, there are various features that are there, and India is a land of various physical variations. Some of them are so old, so ancient. So if you look at the plateaus, they are one of the most ancient land masses that you will find, right? And they are pretty stable as well. But when you talk about Himalayas or the plains, they are all some new features that have developed in our country, right? Or I would say there are some new features that we observe. So have you ever wondered how these landforms, or what is responsible for creating these landforms? So this right here is also very, very important for your basics, right? Manjeet, Akshara, everybody pay attention in class, right? Have you ever wondered what is responsible for all these features to come? When the earth was formed, there was mountain, there was plateau, there was everything, right? Or did something happen over a period of time that we've got all these things? Yes? Very good, Mukesh, Priya, many others. Manjeet is telling me, ma'am, plates, tectonic plates, drifting. Yes, very good. International pressure, okay. Plates and shaking of it, exactly, right? So we've heard about tectonic plates or your lithospheric plates, which are basically, you know, these, we see that there are these masses of land that are there, right? And we know that there are some forces within, right? I'll make it simple. I'm not going to go into the details of it because lower grades, you've learned about it, right? So there are certain forces which work in the deep ends inside the Earth's surface. Because basically your plates that are there, you could think of it as maybe like sponge, right? Not sponge, but rather maybe a piece of paper, right? Or maybe a block of wood that is floating in a semi-liquid form, right? Or like a liquid or a fluid-like form that is there. Yes, it's on the magma. Exactly. So because of this, there are various internal forces. And what are these internal forces? They're caused due to excessive heat and pressure, all the changes that happen within the Earth's surface, right? And we see that all these air pressure that is there, it results in the formation of these landforms, right? So these forces that act on Earth, it's not like today one force acted, tomorrow a new landform has come. No. Over a period of time, these forces will act slow and steady, resulting in formation of mountains, plateaus and plains, right? And we see that it takes millions of years for the Earth's surface to change. Gondwana land, we will learn about it. We are going to learn about Gondwana land and how exactly or what happened to Gondwana land. But I need you to understand a basic understanding that today we see these landforms. I am not going to go into details of it because as per your syllabus, you don't need to go so much in detail also. But what you need to know from a revision, right? So this is basically what you've learned in your lower grades, right? Formation of landforms. So how these landforms are formed? Some internal pressure is happening, some internal changes or forces are there, resulting in changes to happen and in the formation of your landforms. Okay? Now, that we have understood what are these physical features, let's understand why should I study about it. See, if you don't know why you have to study this chapter, then why will you care? Arey ma'am, this is just some chapter in geography which I have to memorize, and that's all. I don't see a future application of it, right? So many times we don't pay attention to why we need to study these things. So first and foremost, understanding physical features will tell us about the nature, or it will tell us about a particular place, right? And along with us, it will tell us to understand our natural environment so that we can create our own habitat, right? So see, if I am here in Bangalore, or let me not give my example, right? So imagine if I want to maybe move into a new house. When you move into a new house, you will have to see how the house is, right? Okay, this house has this window, this house has one door here, this house has one light bulb here. So you will understand, you will learn about everything in that house, and then you will decide, this is going to be my bedroom, this is going to be my study room, I will keep my books here, I will keep my toys here, right? So this is how we will understand, no? We learn about how we want to set up our room. So you need to learn about your surrounding, and only then you will be able to do it. You imagine if you are giving you some more real world application. Imagine you are owning a construction building, right? You are owning a construction building, and you are like a construction firm, and you are responsible for making buildings. Now if they tell you, okay, I want you to make a building for maybe 20 people to live in, will you go build in Himalayas? Ma'am, so much land is available in Himalayas, come, we will go do construction there. Will you do that? Yes or no? Will you go build houses in Himalayas just because so much land is available? No, right? You'll have to see. So many things are there that you'll have to consider before doing all of that. Which is why understanding the natural habitat is also very important. Somebody is telling, ma'am, I will go build house in Himalaya. ठीक है, going to hilly region is good only. Even I want to go. I love going. I mean, I'm a very big mountain person. So I love going to mountains and seeing mountains, right? Later on, you will see me in the mountains also. Yes? Okay. So far, are we clear? Are we clear why we're doing this chapter, right? Many of you are asking me about Pangaea, Gondwana land. I am going to be talking about all of that. So that is why I am not addressing questions on Pangaea and Gondwana land and what happened to Gondwana land and all of that. I'll be telling you. Okay? I'll give you notes also. Don't worry. Yes. Now I can see many mountain people are here. Yes. You will see me in the mountains as well, right? Ma'am, ये सब बस कह रहे हैं, करेंगे कुछ. It's okay, right? Let's not be like that. They will do. So, let's move on, right? Let's all move on to understanding what are the major physiographic divisions that are there in India, right? Now, when you talk about physiographic, now so far I was telling you about physical features. Now we have a new word which has come in, which is physiographic features of physiography. What is physiography? Yes, Manjita has asked me, ma'am, what does physiographic mean? It comes from the word physiography, right? Which could be basically physical geography, right? I can divide this as physical geography. So what does that mean? This is the study of physical features. Oops. This is the study of the physical features that are there in the Earth's surface, right? It is not physics plus geography. It is physical geography, right? Yes, very good. Chandra, my name is Aishwarya, right? Yes, very good, Neha. Very good, very good. Yes, we will do isthmus, everything we will learn one by one, right? One by one. Okay. So now what are the different physiographical features? You tell me. What are the different physiography? What are all the different physiographical features we find in our country? You tell. Yes, midterm timetable soon. Mountain, very good. We find mountains, ma'am. Neha says Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Northern Plains, Himalayas, Deccan Plateau, coastal region, desert, plains. Okay, very good, very good. Many answers coming my way. Awesome. So in India, we find 6, right? Important to remember. This is a question, direct question they can ask you in the exam. What are the different physiographic features we find in India? We find Himalayan mountains, northern plain, peninsular plateau, Indian desert, coastal plains, and in the islands. Somebody asked me, ma'am, what is a peninsula? A piece of land which is surrounded by sea on 3 sides is what we call as a peninsula. India is a peninsular country because it is surrounded by water bodies on 3 sides, right? So which is why we call it as peninsula. You can watch it later, Shin-chan, not a problem, right? Okay, so let's start with my favorite. which is the Himalayan mountains, right? So my favorite, I'll be very honest, I find the Himalayan mountains to be very majestic. I mean, take a look at it. Take a look at it. It's so beautiful. It is so majestic. I mean, to even no photo, and I will write this, okay? No photo will ever do justice to how beautiful the Himalayas look, right? When you have seen it, and if you have seen it, I will tell you, right? When you see it, you will feel that. You will feel that, whatever I've seen in the photos look nothing like what it is in real life, right? So yes, if you want to visit the Himalayas, or you want to visit maybe states through which the Himalayas run through, I would strongly recommend you go and you watch that, right? Yes, I do feel like I'm in the mountains. I love this picture. So of course, the mighty Himalayas are there. Now, when you talk about the Himalayas, we see normally when you talk about it geographically. Now, of course, the beauty of it in the side, when you talk about Himalayas, geographically, we say that they are geologically young and structurally fold mountains that stretch across the northern borders of the India, right? Of India, yes? So, this right here is very, very important. Now, we have used keywords that I have highlighted that says geologically young and structurally fold mountains. So, as majestic as, the Himalayas are, they are relatively young mountains. Now, when I say young mountain, doesn't mean that this Himalayas were formed maybe 15, 20 years ago, right? When you say the word young, how am I using this word young? So, I am using this word young with respect to the Earth's age, right? Now, the Earth was formed millions and millions of years ago, right? Earth was formed millions and millions of years ago. But when you compare that to when maybe the Himalayas were formed, it is pretty recent, right? We see that it is pretty recent. So, this comparison that is there is going to be why we say that it is young mountains. Now we are saying structurally fold mountains. So now we will understand a little bit and we'll go back a little bit in history to understand about how the Himalayas were formed. Now when you talk about the world, right, when you talk about Earth, you understand that today we have so many continents, we have so many types of oceans, right? We learn all their names, we learn about the geography of it. But if you really go back in time, it is not like the Earth was formed with all these continents and oceans in place, right? Over a period of time, if you see, the Earth had one big super ocean, you could say, and the Earth had one big super continent. Now this supercontinent, what you talk about, is what we call as Pangaea, right? Pangaea was a single large mass, right? So think of all the continents put together as one single land that is there, which is Pangaea. Now eventually at one point, your Pangaea split into two, right? It broke into two land masses, right? I am telling you how Himalayas are formed. So now all land in the world is one single piece of land. This is your Pangaea. Okay? I'm just roughly drawing. Now this eventually became two. Yes? So your northern part was called as Laurasia. Yes? Southern part was called your Gondwana land. Right? Or Gondwana. Now our India, our country India. Yes? It is here in the Gondwana land. Right? So here that was there is in the Gondwana land. Veena bacha. Avoid using any kind of unnecessary language in class or you can leave, right? So now of course we had these two. Now eventually over a period of time, right? What happened? Ma'am, so Earth is equal to Pangaea. No. All the land that is there, right, forms a supercontinent, which is your Pangaea. All the water, it's called something else, right? It's called as Panthalassa. So that is all the water, the super ocean that you could say, right? Or that's again like one way of saying it, but basically Panthalassa is the ocean that is there. Yes? Now, over a period of time, all this land broke down into smaller plates, right? And we see that there were 7 major plates. So basically all of this broke down into 7 plates. There were some minor ones, but 7 major plates that we need to be aware about, right? So you could say 7 pieces or 7 plates that are there. Now in this, right, like how Universe Strange is telling me, yes, we see that there are 7 plates which were formed, like you have your African plate, you have your Eurasian plate, and you have your Indo-Austrian plate, right, or Indo-Australian plate. So in this particular case, this Indo-Australian plate is what we need to focus on, right? So this Indo-Australian plate, what it will do, it broke down, right? It was found in the southern part. Yes, it was in the southern part, and it started moving northwards, right? It started to move northwards. And then of course, we see that in this particular case, it collided with the Eurasian plate, and that is where we see that collision of Indo-Austrian plate with your Eurasian plate is what is called as, or resulted in the formation of the Himalayas, right? So now what happened, right? So now what happened exactly? When it collided, right, something of this sort happened. So basically when it collided, it got wrapped up and they fold, right? So they will fold in this manner. So kind of like if you take maybe a piece of blanket, right? So when you take a piece of blanket or a tablecloth and you push it from both sides, right? We see that it will get wrinkles and it will form one single tablecloth, one on top of the other, right? So you can push it on both sides, right? And you get a fold. Yes? So that is exactly what we mean by this. Yes? Very quickly, students, I want you to tell me, right? I want you to tell me if you are able to hear me. Are you all able to hear me? Animesh, this is just for your understanding of young fold, right? It's just some extra information. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Okay, yes, everything is perfectly visible. Awesome, right? Now quickly letting you all know, right? So I know that I'm going a little bit slow, but this is just for your understanding that is there, right? So when we say fold mountains, it means here that geologically young, that means with respect to Earth's age, and structurally fold, right? So as you see, when they collide, they will fold into each other, result in the formation of the mountains. So far, are we good? Yes, are we all good? Everything is tik-tak, sub good? Give me a quick thumbs up. Any doubts that are there, let me know very quickly. Ma'am, when did this separation happen? It happened over a period of time. A few million years ago, this separation happened, right? So it'll definitely, I'm clearly don't remember, probably 40 million years back, right? Indo-Australian plate aastha. It originated from the Indo-Australian plate, right? Apart from fold, you have faulting also, right? Faulting may we see it is a divergent kind of thing, right? Yes. Okay. No doubts. No, everything is good. That's all I want to hear, right? So Deepesh, I hope that you are able to understand. Okay. Moving on, let's understand about the location, right ma'am? Why are they called young mountains? Because they are young, because although it happened 40, 50 million years ago, with respect to the Earth's age, they are pretty young, right? Earth was formed even before that, yes? So with respect to the Earth's age, they are called as a young mountain, right? And you know what do we mean by structurally fold, exactly how they formed. Moving on, we will understand about the location and extent. And yes, Rachik, even then, slow movements are happening even now, right? Okay. So now we're going to understand a little bit more about the location of these mountains. Now when we talk about the location, right, so we know that they form a natural boundary to our country, separating our country from the rest of the Asian countries that are there. And it starts from the western part, right? It starts from the western part close to near the Indus River in the west and extends through Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand. It goes through Nepal. And we also see goes through Bhutan, and of course Sikkim, reaches some of the northeastern states as well, and extends up to 2,400 kilometers, right? And of course when you look at the width, we see that in the western part, right, closer to Kashmir, width-wise it is 400 kilometers. While it reaches Arunachal Pradesh, it narrows down to 150 kilometers, right? So here this is very, very important. Yes, you need to remember this. Now, when you talk about the height, right, we see that closer to the eastern side. So now you know that we can divide it into east and west as well, right? Closer towards the eastern sides, we see that there is difference in the height. It looks something like this, right? So some are very tall, some are very short, right? So the hills that are there are quite different. While on this side, we see that they are more or less consistent, right? The average is between, let's say, if you look at one range, it will be around 8,000, 7,000 feet, right? There's not much of difference in altitude, right? Okay. Now we will move on to understanding about the divisions of the Himalayas, right? Physical location and extent, we are clear. It's very simple, very direct. Now, divisions in Himalayas are important, right? So here, as you all know, divisions can happen as a north-south, right? So latitudinally, if you look, right, north to south, one kind of division can happen. Then we see that there could be a east-west division also, right? So you have western and eastern Himalayas as well. So first, we will focus on this north-south division. So north-south division may we see here that in this particular case, we have three ranges that are there, right? Very good. Himadri, Himachal, Shivalik. Yes, very good. So it could be Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks that are there. Now understanding this is going to be important. And with this, trust me, it is going to be very, very simple. Now the Greater Himalayas are there. They are also called as Inner Himalayas or they are also called as Himadri, right? Now we see that they are a continuous range. That means that it's a continuous range. It's not like discontinuous or there are no breaks per se. And we see that it is home to some of the loftiest, tallest peaks that are there, right? So now of course if you see, we know that there are so many that are there which are a part of it, right? And if you see, there's a whole list of peaks which are given to you in your textbook. So you can star mark that to know some of the peaks which are part of the Greater Himalayas that are there. Yes? Very simple. This is going to be Manjeet and Trupti. Very simple concepts. They're not very tough, right? Now here what do we see? We see that the peaks that are there, they have asymmetrical folds, right? That means that when they were formed, it is not a symmetrical one where it is equal. It is little asymmetrical. One side will be very steep while the other side is going to be relatively easier, right? It's not going to be that steep. It will have like a proper slope. So loftiest means very, lofty is a fancy word you use in English. I'm not able to come up with a synonym for lofty. But loftiest, when you talk about it, it is more or less with the aspect that it is huge, right? Simple. Now, of course, here the average height is about 6,000 meters. And we see here that they are mainly snow-clad mountains, right? So all throughout the year in the Greater Himalayas, yes? So all throughout or all throughout the mountains, we observe that they have snow, right? And we see that this happens all throughout the year. Yes, it happens all throughout the year. And or they will have snow all throughout the year basically. And the inner core that is there, right? They have granite inside them. And these mountain ranges we see that there are various glaciers also, right? So there are various glaciers, including the Gangotri glacier that is there, which is home to our river. Or from there we know that river Ganga originates. Yes? So in this particular case, we see that the great Himalayas that are there, they pass through Jammu Kashmir. So I'm just going to write J and K here. They pass through Himachal, parts of Himachal that are there. They pass through Uttarakhand and they pass through Sikkim, right? Very, very simple and easy. Yes? Are we clear about Greater Himalayas? They can ask you some characteristics, right? They can ask you some characteristics of Greater Himalayas, some examples of peaks we find in Greater Himalayas. So I hope you are clear. Nepal too, parts of Nepal as well. But I'm just mentioning the states of India, that's all. Nepal also. Okay, easy. This is all very simple, right? Yes. Moving on. You tell me, textbook mein hai 8,800 something. I'm not able to recall per se. 8,000 plus. You tell me the answer, right? Moving on. Let's move on to the next one, right? Uchiha Boruto, kya hua? I'm not breaking anybody's heart. But you tell me the answer. 8,800 something. 8,848. Yes, thank you. Moving on to the next parallel range. So here in the northern, on the topmost, we have your greater Himalayas, followed by your lesser Himalayas, which is also called as Himachal range, or we also say that it lies to the south of your Himadri. Now this is very rugged, right? Now rugged means that they're pretty irregular per se, right? It's very rough, you could say that. And we see that these right here have various compressed and altered rocks in them. So in the other case, the core had a lot of granite, it also has a little bit of basalt, but in this particular case, they have a lot of altered rocks and the rocks are pretty compressed, right? And we see that in this particular lesser Himalayas, we see that there are three prominent mountain ranges. Yes. So what are the three prominent mountain ranges? Yes. Neha has already told me, right? Pirpinjal. Very good. So before I go into that, I will go to telling you about the other characteristics which I forgot, right? So in this particular case, the altitude is 3,700. Average altitude between 3,700 to 4,500. 50 kilometers of width, right? And of course, in this particular case, we see that three ranges are there. Pirpinjal, Dhauldar and Mahabharat range, right? Very good, very good. I do know about anime, but I don't want you to spam about it right now. That's all, right? Okay. So first and foremost, we have the Pirpinjal range, which is one of the longest and most important ranges that are there, right? Lies in the Jammu Kashmir region, and also there are parts of it on the western Himachal region. And based on where we find them, we kind of give them different names, right? Sometimes it's also called as the Jammu Kashmir range also. So even state-wise, territory-wise, we tend to give them names, right? Then Dhauldar region is there, which mainly lies in your Himachal Pradesh region. Mahabharat mainly lies in your Nepal region, right? Yes. So that is what we understand as the three ranges that are there. And especially, right, these ranges, yes, all these ranges are very popular because a lot of hill stations, right? These, in this particular region especially, a lot of hill stations are there, yes? So like you have Manali in Kulu district, right? So I mean, I'm able to remember this example. But of course, in this particular case, we also know that there are famous valleys in Kashmir also, right? Okay. Are we clear? How many of you have visited this particular place? Any of you who have visited the lesser Himalayas? Because I have, right? So this right here is me visiting. I think I was in Koksar. I was on my way to Koksar. So this is in Manali when I went to visit Manali last year. And these were some pictures I took, right? So like I said, no picture will ever do justice to how beautiful it is there, right? And of course, as we all see, I have visited the lesser Himalayas. Now that I teach you all, I can tell you that. Yes? Okay. Awesome. Now let's move on to the last range that is there, which is the Shivaliks. Yes? Now the Shivalik range that is there is below, or it is again south of your Himachal range, right? Now in this particular case, we see that this range has a lot of unconsolidated sediments, right? So now as you see, as we are coming down, we see that first of all in this particular range, we see that here, we see that it has a lot of sediments which are brought by the main Himalayan ranges that are located far north. So from your greater Himalayas, all the sediments and fine particles we see, they will come here and they will be settled. Now here mainly we find a lot of valleys as well, which have thick gravel in them and they have alluvium, right? Yes, and we learn about alluvial soil and all of that. Now it starts from the regions in Pakistan and extends all the way up until your valleys, the Brahmaputra Valley that is there in the northeast, right? So it will extend all the way up until this region. Now of course when you look at it, we see here in this particular place, right? They extend up to around 900 to 1000 meters, right? And of course the width that is there about would be 10 to 50 kilometers that is there. So this right here is going to be very, very important, right? Now in regions or in valleys, what are valleys? The spaces that we find between the mountain ranges, we find something called as duns, right? So I hope I'm getting it right. Now when I say dun, the most first thing that comes to our mind is Dehradun. Yes, I'm not saying duns, dun. Yes, exactly. So Dehradun that is there. Yes. So Dehradun, what are these duns that are there or how are they formed? Other examples like partly dune, very good, very good. So these are all some other examples that are there, right? So how exactly are dunes formed? So what happens is that over a period of time, when rivers and everything are flowing, right? So let's assume a river is there. Some river has come. So imagine there's a mountain range here. There is a river which is flowing, right? And it encounters a mountain. So it is flowing and suddenly what has happened? One obstacle has come which is in the form of a mountain, right? So it has encountered this obstacle. Now what will happen? Can it pass the mountain? Can the river go up the mountain and go down? No, right? It can't do that. So what will happen instead? Now it is broken here. So now it will start, all this water that is there, it will start to accumulate, right? All this will start to accumulate here. Now when it starts to accumulate here over a period of time, it will form a temporary lake, right? Over a period of time, it is going to form a temporary lake for a brief period of time. Now as this lake is there, water is also hitting against the walls. It is also eroding some of the soil. Over a period of time, what will it do? So you have a dry lake now. So if I redraw this, what has happened? You have your mountains, right, which are here. And now in this region, you have a lake. Yes, in the space that was there, all here you have a lake. Now the water that is there will start to interact, right? Or it will slowly erode the sides. And then what will happen? It will find a weak point, right? So the water will find a weak point where it would have eroded all of this considerably. And now it has made way, right? It has made way for itself. So now what is going to happen? All this water will now start flowing here. So all this water that is there, now this lake is gone and now it will find a way. Now at this point, what has happened? There is a dry region which is formed, right? So this dry region that is there is what we call as a dune. Yes? So basically, what do we say? So the dry region that it leaves behind in the valley is what we call as a dune, right? So Dehradun that are there is formed by this. Are valleys and dune the same? Not exactly, right? So a dune is formed when water has been temporarily there and it has evacuated, resulting in the forming of dry lakes that are there, right? Yes, socialism will be starting next week. Neha, Ankita ma'am is going to start it. So this is what we understand as this. So very quickly students, here's a quick question for all of you, right? So this is a quick question where I want you to tell me, Dehradun is the most famous dune. Between which mountain ranges is it located? North of the Greater Himalayas, between Greater and Lesser Himalayas, between Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks, or the south of Shivaliks? Yes? Very quickly students. Very good, all of you. Very, very good. In this case, it is between Lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks, right? Not south of Shivalik, but between Lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks. Yes? Very good. Super proud of all of you. Now, before I proceed to the next half of it, are we feeling confident? Are we feeling confident so far? Theek thak hai, ma'am. I'm able to understand. I get an idea, right? So, I hope you are all clear. Okay, Ashrit, what doubts do you have? Let me know. Notes, Telegram channel, I will be sending it. Junior World, I will send it. I will. I know 1 or 2 notes are pending from my end. I'll send all of it, right? Okay. See, we'll take it step by step and we will go. Gorges that are there are basically when there are these steep valleys, no? I don't have a picture, otherwise I would have shown it. So there are these steep valleys where I say it will be like this, and at the bottom you will find a small stream or a narrow. So it's very steep valley. So this is what we call as a gorge, right? ठीक है. Dunes that are there are formed when flowing rivers encounter an obstacle. When they encounter that obstacle, they will temporarily form a lake, right? Because they are not able to cross the obstacle. Now, because they are not able to cross it, they form a lake here. And when the lake is formed, they keep hitting against, they slowly start eroding the sides. And at one point, they'll find one weak point that is there through which they can escape, right? So, From here, once they find that weak point, there's a stream or a pathway for the water to flow. So because of this, all the water will flow into that, and eventually, that is there, we see that it is called, or it results in a dry lake. And the region where water was there earlier but no longer it is there is what we call as a dhund, right? Dhar is not per se a range. Dhar is what you call, dhar mainly you refer it to as a place or an abode per se, right? Okay. Moving on to the next part of it, which is divisions on the east-west. This is very simple. Now you know north-south may differentiation. Dhauladhar, sorry. My Hindi pronunciations could be little fika. I'm working on it, learning from everybody, right? Yes. Now you have east-west division, which is western Himalayas and eastern Himalayas, right? Now how do I decide? I want to divide it as east and west. What is my deciding factor here? Well, my main deciding factor, right, that I will divide this portion of it as eastern Himalayas and this portion as western Himalayas is based or this separation or demarcation is done based on the presence of river valleys, right? Very, very important. So based on it, we will decide whether it has to be east or west division. So now based on this, we have Punjab Himalayas, Kumaon Himalayas, Nepal Himalayas, Assam Himalayas and the Purvanchal that is there. Yes? So starting from Punjab Himalayas, we see that Punjab Himalayas lie between the Indus and Sutlej river. And of course here it includes, it can also be called as the Kashmir Himalayas or the Himachal Himalayas based on where it is found, right? Then here you only need to know the important rivers, okay? This is all you need to know, not more than that. Then of course we have Kumaon Hills, which is present between Sutlej river and Kali river, right? And here in this particular case we see that mainly this region of Himalayas is situated in the state of Uttarakhand, right? Then you have Kali and Teesta river, right? So between Kali and Teesta river, you have your Nepal Himalayas that primarily lie in the region of Nepal. Then you have Assam Himalayas, which lies between Teesta river and the Hang river, right? So these are your Assam Himalayas. Then what goes beyond the Hang river is where it will take a loop like this and then end up forming your the Purvanchal or your eastern mountains that are there. Now the Purvanchal actually acts as a boundary between India and Myanmar, right? And we see that this particular region here has various sedimentary rocks, has thick forests, and of course has that kind of a humid climate wherein we see here that it allows it to humid climate that allows such forests or such vegetation to grow, right? And this of course includes Patkai Hills, Manipur Hills, Naga Hills and Mizo Hills, right? So here the trick, right? Trick to remember this particular part is remember the rivers, right? Remember the rivers that you observe. So from Punjab all the way till here, right? Starting with Indus, Sutlej, then you have your Kali, then you have your Teesta river, Teesta to the Hang, beyond the Hang is Purvanchal, okay? Purvanchal hills you need to mainly know that these particular hill regions, right? The eastern one of course has difference in altitude. So we see that here the altitude, there's no averaging. Some are very tall, some are very short, and distribution is such, right? We see some in different regions that are there. Yes? Very good. Iska TD. Thank you, Manjeet. Iska TD. So Indus, Sutlej, Kali, you have your Indus, Sutlej, I'm suddenly forgetting something. Indus, Sutlej, Kali, then you have Teesta. Yes. In the Teesta, then you have your Hang. Okay. Eastern hills or mountains, yes, you can say that they are Purvanchal, right? So very quickly students, another question for all of you. In the east-west division, which Himalayas are found between Sutlej and Kali? Which Himalayan regions is found between Sutlej and Kali? Punjab Himalayas, Kumaon Himalayas, Nepal Himalayas, Assam Himalayas, right? Okay. It is not ratification. I want to get rid of this idea that geography is ratification. See, if I am not able to remember something, see, I am also not some pro at remembering things, okay? I also need to do a lot of active recall. You think that before every class I am pro and I know everything, it's in the tip of my fingers? I would say that I would be very arrogant to think that way. Even though I know my things, I will always recall and come, right? So how do I recall? I have my own internal ways of doing it. And for me with geography, mainly I like visualizing it, right? If I'm able to see, there's Himachal mein ye mountains hai. Watch those videos, watch Himalayan videos, YouTube pe you are already there. Rather than wasting time on shorts, you can watch all of this. Remember it picture wise. Maybe, see in my case, I have friends who are from Uttarakhand, right? I have friends who are there from Punjab, Arsh ma'am is from Punjab. So I remember I have all these weird ways in recalling it. So don't say it is ratification. Try to find innovative ways. I will also tell you innovative ways. But if I only tell you, if I keep telling you what to do, you will not put that effort. I will tell you closer to your exams. But till then, I want you to study. Very good, all of you. Very good. So we have the Kumaon Hills that are there, right? Which are a part, or that is what is found between your rivers Satluj and Kali. Very good, students. Very, very good. So far, are we all clear? Yes? Are we all clear? Now, to be honest, with this, we have learned everything about the Great Himalayas. How confident are we feeling? Hare ma'am, I was unnecessarily worried. Now you have made this so easy for me, right? So most often what you need to think about it is not that, I need to break my head over recalling everything, right? But at the same time, it is about breaking the information. Yes? Okay. So now, of course, with the students, I would say that we are done with this particular part. Himalayas are over. How about we cover northern plains in the next class? Yes, maybe. Northern plains also is a very simple topic. I can break it down as a recorded video also, right? How about we do recorded bits of northern plains? Himalaya to we covered, right? Then we will do bits and pieces. One by one we will take it. We are not in a hurry, right? I know for most of you probably you had this even for your unit test. But nonetheless, right? Whatever is there, we will study it slowly. We are in no hurry. Studying slowly is more important than finishing everything, right? Yes. Well, if it is recorded, awesome. I will record it so that you will have it very soon. Okay? Session ne aag laga di. Awesome. So very quickly, students, I had everything ready with me, but very quickly I will wind it up. So here's a homework for all of you, where I want you to name the 3 major divisions of the Himalayas from north to south, right? So this is your homework question, for which I want you to tell me in the comments of this video, right? So I want you to tell me in the comments of this video. Now, if you like the way I teach and if you like the way you learn social sciences here, you know we've got you covered. We try our best, right? We try our best to help you all out. Which is why if you like all of the way we teach, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Do not forget to share this video. Most importantly, please make sure to like this video. Thank you so much for being a part of today's class, right? Any more doubts, let me know in the comments of this video. The session is not completed, but we've kick-started this session with a small bit, but we will do more and more of this chapter, right? So thank you so much, students. I will see you all soon, but up until then, take care, lots of love, and bye-bye.